Welcome to The Planet Forward with Preetha. Conversations for a greener future. The place where we ignite discussions and uncover innovations driving us towards sustainability. Every episode, join your host Preetha as we explore the stories, ideas, and pioneers making a real difference in our world. Get ready to be inspired, learn, and be a part of the change that propels us forward to a greener tomorrow.
Welcome back to Planet Forward with Preetha, Conversations for a Greener Future. Today, we have the privilege of hosting Veena Jetti, a visionary in the field of commercial real estate and a trailblazer in crafting conservative yet lucrative investment opportunities. As a founding partner of Vive Funds, Veena has leveraged her extensive expertise to manage over $1 billion in real estate assets, pioneering innovative approaches in multifamily investments. Veena's journey in real estate is marked by a strategic foresight and a deep commitment to integrity and transparency, qualities that have propelled her and her company to the forefront of the industry. Her work extends beyond the boardroom. Veena is a respected speaker on global stages and a dedicated philanthropist, particularly noted for her leadership during Hurricane Harvey, where she coordinated emergency responses, showcasing her commitment to community and service. Today, we dive deep into the world of real estate investment, exploring the intersection of profitability and sustainability, and uncover how Veena's leadership is shaping the future of the industry. Veena, welcome to the show, and thank you for joining us to share your remarkable journey and insights.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Thank you so much for joining us. I know you have a hectic schedule. You just came back from a long trip to Florida, but even after all that, you found time to join the show. I'm really, really grateful. So let's start. The first question I have for you, Veena, is like, what was a moment of inspiration that propelled you from your corporate role into launching Vive Funds?
Okay, it's really funny. So I had a lot of stops on the way between corporate and Vive. When I got married in 2012, my husband and I got married, and we paid taxes as a married couple for the first time. And we were both W-2 earners.
Yeah.
What happens when you're a W-2 earner is the government, the IRS, does not incentivize you
Not at
to
all.
somebody else, but they incentivize you to start a business and to run your own business and to create jobs and stimulate the economy. And so the first year my husband and I were married, we paid taxes as a married couple, as W-2 earners, and we paid something like almost $200,000 in taxes.
That's like, oh my God.
Which is more than the average, like it's tripled the middle class salary.
Exactly. And you pay that as taxes. So, it's just alarming that you're giving away money like that.
Yes. And this was 12 years ago, where $200,000 was way more significant than it is today, right?
Absolutely. Even today, it is really significant, $200,000.
Yeah. And it's still, I mean, $200,000 today buys you way less because inflation is so crazy. And so anyway, we paid the tax bill, and I was like, this like a dagger in my heart. We worked so hard. And at that time, it was about like 50% of our income.
Yes, going as taxes.
And so that means half the time I'm working for the government, and half the time I'm working for our family. So when that happened, I called my mom and I was like, Mom, we just paid all this money in taxes. And she goes, quit your job. And I was like, what? And, she's still an Indian mom. When I was going to college, they were like, do you want to be an engineer or a doctor?
Yes, classic Indian
exactly.
upbringing, yes.
And my family's like the engineers family. My husband's family, they're all doctors. So I'm like, I was the black sheep because I went for finance. And my parents, oh my gosh,
it's completely unconventional in Indian families. Like, if you either become a doctor or an engineer, any other career is like completely, it is non-existent for them. They don't think that is even worthy of a career.
100%.
Yes.
And my mom said, quit your job, start a business, be a full-time real estate professional, and figure out the tax game. Because it's not about what you make, it's about what you keep. right?
That's
If
correct.
someone's making $1 million a year and paying 300,000 of that in taxes, if I'm making $750,000 a year, but I'm completely tax efficient and I pay zero in taxes, then I actually am doing better than the person who's making $1 million a year because I'm more
Absolutely, 100%.
so that was the moment that actually moved me from working in corporate America for somebody else to having my own business. And then, I started in single family and kept going and realized I couldn't scale up. And that's when I discovered multifamily. And ultimately, it's led me to do bigger and better deals. I learn more every transaction, every day that goes by. I'm always aiming to get 1% better. And so it's been very much a progression. I tell people it's only taken me 12 years to be an overnight success. And, that's where we are today. It's taken a long time to get here.
So I think I'm remembering a story. It's a famous Chinese proverb. In China, there's a bamboo. There's a kind of bamboo
Yep.
which you plant it. It takes like the first 5 years you'll only see a
That's,
few
yep.
shoots outside the soil, and people wonder, oh my God, it's not growing at all. And the once it start after the fifth year, it just shoots up into
Yeah.
like 10 to 12 feet long, because all these 5 years, what it did was it was building its roots, penetrating it deep down into the ground to make sure that it has really nice footing, so that when it actually shoots up, its foundation is very strong and it's
Yep.
grounded. So you brought up a very good point. People, when they see successful people, they say, oh, for her, what, she's got everything together and everything is happening for her. But then nobody understands the amount of work behind the scenes, what you've done, and how many years of hard work that you have put to this particular career in order to get to where you are today. It's not easy.
No.
It is not. And especially when you said you're transitioning from being a W2 employee to being an entrepreneur, it's a mindset change, because
Mhm.
you're so used to getting this monthly salary and the cushiony way, and then suddenly you're like, you may not get a consistent income, and you're like, oh, it's okay. This is
Yep.
how entrepreneurship works. It's a mindset shift, because
100.
it comes with lots and lots of other pressures as well. Unless you have the grit to take on all that what comes along with the entrepreneurial journey, I don't think you can get to this place where you are today, Veena. So kudos to that. Whatever you've done, the 12 years of hard work is what is all showing right now.
Thank you so much. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I think, a lot of people look to me today and they're just starting out and they're like, oh, but you were special. You had this, you had that, like, or you just know everything, or you're smarter than me. I promise I'm not smarter than you. I'm not more special. I'm just a regular person. The difference between what I've done and what someone who hasn't done this yet is that I kept going.
Yes.
Most people will quit because it is hard. And like you said, it's feast or famine with entrepreneurship. And what no one sees, because social media is a highlight reel, right? It's like
Yes.
the good things. And I try to be a little more balanced, especially now because I'm more aware of it. But it's still hard because when I'm in my hardest moments, mentally, physically, emotionally, my first thought is not, oh, let me document this for someone on social media. So you rarely see that from anyone.
Yes, that's
on
correct.
and so what people don't know is how many days I spent away from my kids. What
Mm-hmm.
people don't know is how much time I've sacrificed. What people don't know is I cried myself to sleep many nights over the last decade plus. What people don't see is that I've risked it all. I've been unsure and I just did it anyway.
Yeah,
And so,
you'd never gave up on it. You know exactly what your North Star was and what you're going after. For you, failure was not an option at all. You just kept going, and
yeah,
that speaks volume. And having known you personally right now, and I've seen what goes on behind the scenes, I can completely attest to it. It's not an easy thing. You have to constantly switch. Between your personal life and professional life, it's like a blended thing. There's no such thing as a fine line. You're just going with the flow, and especially since I know you have two little girls,
yes.
it's simply commendable to what
Thank
you're doing right now. Amazing it is, like, because
you.
I have two grown-up kids. Even with that, I have my own challenges, because every age they have their own things they need from us. But when they're little, I know exactly what it is. So kudos to you for what you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
I think this will be a perfect segue to the next question. So could you share a story about a project that significantly shaped your approach to multifamily real estate investments?
Oh gosh. Oh my gosh. There's so many. I feel like every deal significantly shapes who I am and how I look at deals and what I know to be true and how I need to move and shift and adjust because I'm always learning. I
Yes.
never, ever, ever stop learning. In fact, I'm now part of a mastermind where there's 9 of us that have done over $1 billion in transactions. And so I get to learn from the best of the best. And it's such a great energy because it allows me to be really transparent. Gives everyone else permission to be really transparent. And then we could just get better knowledge and we all are better for it. And we can all be better operators as a result of it. And so, I'm always learning. I would say if I have to pick one, oh gosh, just one, Preetha. This is so hard.
I know you have, like, with $1 billion in your portfolio, one is hard, but again, you'll have something which, at least one particular transaction which taught you a valuable lesson. Like you said, you're a lifelong student and you're learning, right? One
Yeah.
thing which completely changed the way you looked at business and you shifted your mindset.
I'll actually give you the most recent. I can think of so many. I can think of one for every asset we've ever bought, but the most recent one was last year. We closed a deal called Arcadia Cove in Phoenix, and we bought it for $131.5 million. It was 432 units. And a few months after we closed that transaction, I found out that we were the largest all-woman led transaction in the entire country last year.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
brilliant.
Yes, and I'm so proud of that transaction. It also was the transaction that took me over the $1 billion mark, but that's not why I was proud of it. I was proud of it because this is a male-dominated field. And this is generally the people you see at these tables are, they went to Wharton or Harvard Business School and they're old white men. And that's great. We need that voice too, but we also need to see minorities and women and people from different socioeconomic backgrounds and people from different pedigrees at the top. Because
Absolutely.
yes, diversity, equity, inclusivity, all of these are really important to me.
You
It's part of
remind
our
me of this book called Leanin by Cheryl Sandberg.
Sheryl Sandberg. Yes.
That's my favorite book.
Is
I adore that. I don't know how many copies I've gotten gifted to my team, because that speaks volume. And when you're saying that, it only re-emphasizes the need for such kind of a diverse leadership.
100%. And so, yeah, and so I think that transaction for me was pivotal because I didn't know at the time that that's not the reason I closed the deal. We closed it because it was a phenomenal deal. But after we closed it and I found out about it, it is the most pride I've ever had in an accomplishment in my multifamily journey. And so for me, that was a really special asset. And also because I get to look to my 2 little girls and tell them that their mom did that. And that means they come from greatness. And that means they have greatness in them. And that means that they too can do great things. And they can do
Absolutely.
that no other women have ever done before. And my hope is by the time they're old enough to go out and live in their greatness, that it is no longer remarkable for women to be transacting on deals like this. I want it to be normalized that women transact at this level. And I don't want it to be special for them that they bought $100 million plus deal. I want it to be
It becomes like a norm, and you're setting a really good precedence by doing that, right? Yours is a live by example, right? Rather than showcasing that, oh, that person is done, this person is done, you're actually embodying it and showing, guess what, I actually did it and I'm showing you how it can be done. That speaks volume. And I love the idea you said, it's the single most largest deal closed by all women. Kudos to you, because especially women coming from diverse backgrounds coming together, and historically there's always we as women, we always get that thing that women cannot work together. That's something that there is a perception in the industry, women cannot work together. And you actually deflated that and said, guess what, women can work together and close a deal which is like $135 million worth, and guess what, it's doing really fine. So you actually went against the norm and said that women can work together, that too from diverse backgrounds. It's phenomenal.
I think it's interesting that you say this because I've been talking about it more recently. So the narrative that society tells us is there's only enough room for one woman at the top. So it's
Yes,
either Preetha or Veena. It can't be both. But like, quite frankly, that's BS. Why can't there be more than one woman at the top? And what I've discovered is because of this scarcity mindset that society naturally instills in us, right? Because of that, women feel competitive with each other. How many times have we been in rooms where you hear women tearing other women down? We do not have that luxury. We cannot and should not tear other women down. What we should do instead is lift other women up, because when
absolutely.
women lift each other up, it is so powerful, and we can do so much more when we support each other. And so I always tell people, I have the best girlfriends on the face of the planet. All of the women in my circles, by design, champion each other and champion other women. And anything less than that is unacceptable in a friendship for me anymore.
You actually are bringing up a very important point, because this is something which is very dear and near to my heart. See, there are certain leaders, women leaders, I completely adore. And one
Yeah.
is Indra Nooyi, then
Yes.
Cheryl Sandberg,
Incredible.
and I have another person is, of course, Oprah. Who does not like Oprah? And Mother Teresa. These are the women who I embody, because for their own uniqueness they bring. And
Yeah.
I remember I watching one of Indra Nooyi's interview as part of a leadership class when I was in corporate America. They had actually recommended that we watch the interview, and she brought in a very good point. She said, like, when women together, let's say we are in a presentation or anything, and we are watching that another woman who's also presenting did not do well, or something was off. And we take a break, we meet this lady in the restroom. I think, women do not have that zone or a comfort zone wherein they can go and say, hey, that didn't go well, you may want to change a little bit, or so, just giving the honest feedback, and the other person actually accepting it, saying that it's really good, thank you for telling me, I'm glad you brought it up, let me go and fix it. She said that
Yeah.
that kind of space is not there in women, because that inherently we've been taught not to, if at all we say that, they say, oh, because that lady does not like me or something. That's how we've been trained to think. Whereas
Yeah.
it's two men, if they meet in the restroom, they'll actually go and say, hey, that was not good, man, you need to do something, and they actually take it as a friendly banter, and they'll come and fix it. So she was telling, it's the mindset of the women also, the way we are conditioned to believe in the society, that
Yeah.
if even we are giving a constructive feedback to a fellow colleague, it's taken otherwise, saying that that person is not liking the way I did, or she is
Yeah.
jealous or something like that. But I think we as women, especially now, we are we have so many years of experience in corporate America, and we also are coming into the entrepreneurial arena. We know that if we're genuinely giving the feedback to the other person, it's not because we want to see them down, we actually want to uplift them. So
Yep.
that space should be there. Like, for instance, tomorrow, if you see me speaking some place and you felt that was not right, I would like for you to come and tell me, hey, Preetha, that was not the right way to do. And I wholeheartedly should accept it. That was a
Yeah.
genuine feedback. Let me take it. Crossing all these boundaries, you women coming together and closing a deal is unbelievably awesome.
Yes.
It speaks volumes. So I think the next question is perfect. So in your incredible journey, what personal mantra has been crucial to navigate your leadership roles?
Oh gosh, you're asking me all the hard questions today. Because, there's not any one thing necessarily. I think that culture is created from the top down, not from the bottom up. So, in the multi community, which you've been a part of and you've shown up
Yes,
and you've seen it, I show up very authentically as who I am.
I
There's no
know. I can
time.
attest to it. There's no any facade there. Whatever you
Right.
see is whatever you
Let's
get. I
get
love that
exactly.
about you.
Thank you. And look, I've had to learn, especially as my personal brand has grown and I've become more publicly visible. I've had a lot of really hard moments where, I'm learning in real time. I'm not everybody's cup of tea. I keep saying to myself, like, I'm not a taco. Everyone cannot love me, right? Because like everyone loves a taco, who doesn't? But I'm going to be somebody that my message is not for everybody, and that's okay too. And it's learning to be comfortable in that discomfort. It's learning to overcome my initial instinct, which is to try to like win them over, right? Woo is my number 3 strength. So I want to like win them over. And it's been really a learning lesson for me where I have shifted my mindset now, where if I give the mental energy to winning over somebody who I am not for and who does not resonate with my message, I'm taking time away from the Preethas of the world who I can actually be impacting and helping.
100%. Yes.
And because my time is finite, because my resources are finite, I really have to be better at prioritizing where I spend my time and my energy. And if I don't do that, then I am actively not pouring into you in the way that you deserve, or not pouring into someone else in the way they deserve, because I'm spending time in this negativity or this energy. So for me, that's been like a really big learning curve. I don't know that it's a mantra necessarily, but it has been a guiding light for me that I'm still navigating and learning through.
Oh, that's wonderful. I'm just thinking about all those things you're saying. When I was going through the ranks of leadership in the corporate America, one of the things, I had such amazing leaders who told the same things what you're saying, to coach me and uplift me, and of course correct me and guide me through the right path. And one of the things they said, exactly like, creating your circle of influence is extremely important. You cannot not everybody is going to like you, and you have to accept it. And like you said, energy can only be recreated or transferred. It cannot be destroyed. So there's only finite energy you have. So you have to decide where you want to impart that energy. Is it for the people who are actually going to be your champions, or you want to be trying to influence people who are not going to be your champions, no matter what you try? So
Yep.
what you're telling is absolutely right. Like, there's no rule in the rule book that every human on this earth should like you. There's no, because the energy, vibe, a lot of things does not match, and that's okay. That's perfectly all right.
If you are somebody that literally every person you meet likes you, it means that
Yeah,
you're not speaking up enough. You're not taking up enough space. And this happens naturally, right? Like if I say, oh, orange is the best color ever, there should be someone that disagrees with me. That diversity of thought is really important.
absolutely.
And I think that just because someone disagrees with me, it doesn't mean they shouldn't be in my circle. I welcome disagreement because it either allows me to strengthen my position or change my position to be something different because someone makes a really good point. So I think diversity is a strength, not a weakness.
100% right. And I see that in the multifamily community itself. We're all from diverse culture, diverse background, have our own opinions, but we all learn and thrive together, knowing that we'll have a different opinion. That's okay, accept it. That's fine. And I guess that's the strength of the community also. When we have diverse perspectives, we're learning from each other so much, and it'll prompt us to think completely different than we all originally thought was the right way to do.
100%.
So next, I have something which, again, completely pivoting to another side of you. During Hurricane Harvey, you coordinated emergency responses. Can you take
Yeah.
us through these critical moments and what they taught you about leadership and community?
Okay, so I was given the honor of being one of 3 Women of the Year in 2017 because of my grassroots effort during Hurricane Harvey. I have no background in disaster response or emergency response. Um, in fact, I'd never done anything of the sort. I didn't even have training in triage or anything like that. The way I actually started helping is, so I'm Dallas based, and Hurricane Harvey hit Houston very hard. And Houston is like 3 hours by proximity. So we're one of the closest. San Antonio, Austin, Dallas are the 3 closest major cities to Houston.
Correct.
So I knew I wanted to help because I could not imagine going through something like this that was so devastating for so many families. And I was like, Googling, Hurricane Harvey victim help, like trying to figure out what it was. And like, I don't know, in my mind, I thought maybe we would like adopt a family to come live with us. I really didn't know. Which anybody who knows my husband knows that would be like so off the table for him. He's like very much an introvert, wants his own space. But I didn't know how I could help people. And so I was like, what do I do here? And then I realized that there was no organization for the medical assistance needed. And I had a very large network of healthcare providers, physicians, nurses, et cetera, because my husband's a physician. So I coordinated and created a medical channel. And this was all happening very quick because it's not like you could be like,
Wow.
oh, hurricane, just wait for us while we figure this out and we go
No,
read the book and learn about the thing. And we were working on the fly and iterating on the fly. So we ended up creating a form, a Google form, and there was back end links to a spreadsheet. And
okay.
I enlisted the help of my network. So I have a very large and very powerful network. And like you think of it, I have someone in my network that
That's
fills that.
amazing. That's wonderful.
And that came from my curiosity of people. It's because I'm curious to know people. I don't care what walk of life you come from. I'm someone that believes that everybody has something of value to give to someone else.
That's such a precious thought, Veena. Not everyone will have that mindset. I honestly say that.
And I wish more people would, because I have had the delight and pleasure of having so many people in my network that wouldn't have otherwise been if I didn't approach with a curiosity about that person. And so I always joke and say, if you're going to be my friend, you have to either give me your time or your money when I have a mission that I'm on. And so
That's
on the
beautiful.
one end, I had a lot of my friends who were stay-at-home moms or who were working remotely or whatever. A group of women came together, and a lot of them were married to physicians. So they got their husbands to sign up and to help with the medical channel. So we had one side where people were intaking rescue requests, medical requests. We had another group of people that were triaging them. So they'd go through, and this was usually like nurses or physicians who were used to triaging and assessing
Amazing.
the
You had a process put in place in such a short time. Oh my
yeah,
God.
and it was organic. It kept changing. And look, I would love to take all of the credit for this because it was really incredible what we did. I was just a catalyst for action. And I find myself in that role often. A lot of times I'm just the catalyst for greatness
And
because
you have that power in you to do it. And you see, so many people have great networks, but how many people come forward to do something with it?
yeah, I mean, and that's the other thing is I'm unashamed to do it. So then we had people, and then we had a channel where we would connect. At one point, we basically 24 hours a day, we would have multiple physicians on call for our channel. So we would have someone who would call and be like, oh, I don't have a full insulin dose. What do I do? And then believe it or not, we had like emergency physicians, internal medicine, we had OBs, we had psych, like we had everybody, psychiatrists, we had everybody. And they were like, look, here's what we need to do in this situation, or here's how we have to ration it. Or, they were talking people through injury recovery. It was incredible to see the expertise
Oh
that
my
came.
God.
There,
Amazing. You just, built a community of doctors and other healthcare professionals, all that in a short span of time. Oh my
yeah,
goodness.
in a very short span of time. And the lesson I learned from it is you don't have to be an expert. You just have to take imperfect action. Because there were a lot of imperfections, there were a lot of issues, there was much drama that happened behind the scenes, but none of that stopped us from our ultimate focus and our ultimate goal. And we helped a lot of people. We had friends that donated money. We had other friends that drove supplies down from Dallas because we couldn't get any shipments down there. So I had a friend who left her 3 boys and came. She was a nurse. She came to Dallas. She flew in, stayed at my mom's house. We had people drop shipping like formula and diapers and food and
Oh
water
my
and
God.
everything to my parents' house. She packed up a U-Haul and then drove down to Houston to do boots on the ground rescue and distribute
Oh my
supplies.
God. Bless her heart. What
Oh
a
my,
beautiful soul.
yes.
Who will have that heart to do such a thing? Oh my God.
Her name is Sarah Vaca. She's incredible human being. And she did this because she felt called to help someone. And she's just one example. There were hundreds of people that stepped up to the plate, at least in my network that I saw.
Oh my God, God cannot be there everywhere. So he sends angels on the earth. And this is a classic example of that.
100%.
Really, that takes that these kind of humans, right? Like I'm telling you included, only these things can happen when you think beyond yourself. vast
Yeah.
majority of the humans only first think for themselves. That's exactly the problem with this universe. But when you step out of that and think about the others, this next realm, what
Yes.
can you do with this beautiful life that you've been gifted with to impact positively on others' life? That's when this magic happens, transformation happens, because you're thinking about somebody beyond your own circle. That's
Yes.
amazing. That's wonderful.
100%.
Oh my God, that's amazing, Veena. You did that in 2017. Bless your heart.
Thank you.
So again, moving on the same lines, I'm really intrigued to ask more questions on this line.
Yeah.
So philanthropy is clearly close to your heart.
Yes.
Could you tell us about a cause you're passionate about and how you've become involved?
We do a lot of charitable giving, charitable donations, charity work in general. I was raised this way, so it's very second nature to us. Every year for my kid's birthday, instead of doing gifts, I always ask for donations. So their first birthday, we did a toy drive for CHOP, Children's Hospital of Philly, because it was COVID. We couldn't really have a party, so we celebrated my kids by doing that. Their second birthday, we also did a toy drive. I'm trying to remember which hospital we sent it to. St. Jude's, I think we sent it to. And then their third birthday and their fourth birthday, we did a school supply drive. So we asked everyone to bring school supplies instead of gifts, and we distributed it in our own schools here in Frisco. You and I are both here in this area.
Yes.
And so it benefited students in the schools and teachers in the schools. And the reason why we do this for their birthdays is because when my daughter Vivana was very little, she was 10 weeks old, she was diagnosed with a liver tumor. And at the time of diagnosis, it was a very aggressive pediatric cancer. And
You
when
must
you're
be devastated hearing that news. I can only imagine what
it can bring me to
emotions you went
tears
through.
right
Yes.
now because it was so painful. And I remember I was like, I was going through the stages of grief, and I was negotiating with God and was like, if you make my baby okay, I promise every year for the rest of my life, I will dedicate a celebration toward some kind of a charitable cause to express the extreme gratitude I would have for Vivana being okay. So that was like the first day we found out that she had a tumor at all. And I'm still emotional about it. It's
I
almost
understand. I can see that as a mother. Yes.
yeah. And so in that, I had made that promise in my mind. It was just between me and, whatever you believe in, God,
Yes.
the universe, whatever. It ended up being a totally benign tumor. It was taking up 30% of her liver. She's completely okay from it. It will likely not ever be an issue because it's so small now and it's calcified. So it's like the best possible news you can ever get. But because of that, every year on their birthday, I celebrate by doing some kind of a charitable cause to honor the sheer miracle that we experienced and to pay it forward to someone else. It's getting harder though, because now my girls are going to turn 5 this year. And they're like, Mommy, how do we get presents for our birthday? Because they've never gotten presents.
Now they start to know what birthdays mean, and
Presents
you get a
are,
lot of
yeah.
presents and all that.
And they see us take presents for their friends' birthdays and stuff like that. And their friends get all these presents. So they're like, how do we get presents on our birthday? And I explained to them, I'm like, look, we do this because we have so much and we don't need more. They're like, but we really want presents. So this year, I told them that we're still going to do some kind of a charity drive. I'm going to have them more involved in picking out what we do, whether it's a school supply drive or a toy drive or whatever. And then I told them that they can each wish for one toy, and I will let the grandparents buy that one toy for them each. Because like we don't need more junk. I don't need more stuff.
No, I totally understand that,
Yeah, so I'm still gonna carry on our tradition, but now I'm gonna allow grandparents to buy a gift for them so they can have a present. Maybe my husband and I will buy them one more present. I don't know. We really limit the amount of presents they get. Like even at Christmas, we don't buy presents. We do 4 presents. So we do something you want, something you need, something to wear, and something to read, and then one Santa gift. And they're stocking stuffers and that's it. We don't
You're
do
teaching them sustainability right from the childhood, Veena, because
actually, yes.
this is what sustainability is all about.
Yeah.
When we buy too many junk and then put all that in our landfill, what is happening to this universe? We all know that. So we
Yeah.
can if just minimize to the things what we want and not go after vanity shopping and just
Yeah.
buy things what is actually required for this life.
Yep.
That itself is a huge step. What a common man, you don't need the governments or big universities or big scientists to come up with an plan to work on climate change or sustainability. Every
Yeah.
human, every one of us can inculcate that in our own lives, and you're
Uh,
actually teaching them sustainability right from childhood.
okay, I never thought of it like that, but I'm glad you brought that up because the reason I did it is I don't want them to get trapped in consumerism.
Yes.
And Christmas is so often a time for consumer excessiveness.
I know, and that's part of the retail, outlets and their marketing strategy because they want to get the maximum sales. So they start
Absolutely.
advertising like 3 months before the actual event happens. You know how
Yep.
the entire marketing
Yep.
works.
Yep.
So we don't want
Yeah.
to get there.
And we actually take it even a step further. So we have those 4 categories plus the Santa gift and their stockings get stuffed. But even those 4 gifts, I actually have my parents choose one category, my in-laws choose one category, my sister chooses one, and then we do the fourth. So they, from the whole family, they only get these 4 gifts.
That's
And
perfect. And you're teaching them that's all you need. You don't need an excess quantity. You just need what is needed for your life.
correct. And also I don't like the extravagance of these because for us these holidays are meant to spend time with family.
Yes.
And then every year we adopt another family and we provide Christmas for them.
That's such
Last
a
year
beautiful thought.
last year the community came together and we gave 400 kids Christmas
Oh my
in
God,
the
that's
area.
phenomenal. See, that is the true essence of Christmas. That's
Exactly.
exactly what Christmas is all about. Making sure
Yes,
that you uplift another soul who is really going through a hard time. That's
exactly.
all about, that's Christmas spirit to me.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So I used to run an angel tree every year where we would help hundreds of families and I would organize all of it and I would match the money with the family. So it's just something that our family's always done and we're going to continue doing it. And I'm just, I'm really excited to now teach my girls now that they're a little bit older how to, get more involved and be more thoughtful of others and mindful of others. Because like the reality is even my husband and I, we don't exchange gifts. We just buy the things we want when we want them. And so for us, exchanging gifts is not, it's not
That's again, you're not falling to the societal pressures or societal norms, right?
exactly.
You're being very how do I say, practical. If you want
Yeah.
something, you can go and buy. You don't base your needs on someone else's uh,
Telling.
exactly. So
Yeah,
that's really
exactly.
good.
So what my husband and I do for Christmas is we have $100 limit and we do stocking stuffers for each other, but everything you put in there, the total has to be under $100.
That's
So it's,
perfect. So you know exactly what, you're not wasting money, you're staying within the budget, and you're only buying things which is absolutely neat. You're not going and
yeah,
buying frivolous things which is absolutely not needed. Probably after that day, you won't even look back at it. What's the point of getting
exactly.
it? Yes.
Exactly. And like I put stuff like, oh, sorry, Santa put stuff in my kids' stockings that are like fruits, fruit snacks, granola bars, like things that they'll use regardless. But it's like the magic of Santa having stuffed it at night. My kids heard the reindeer on the rooftop last year. And
Oh, so sweet.
it's all that magic that we create, but we
Yeah.
do it in a way that's not excessively consuming.
These are precious years, Veena. Trust me, enjoy it because
Oh,
having raised 2 children and gone through the entire journey, oh my God, those are the precious memories I always cherish. Because when they grow up, of course, we all know it comes with its own challenges.
yeah.
So this is a wonderful time. So again, let me come back to commercial real estate now. Since we've gone through the philanthropy, we understood all about your personal, journey. So what personal insights do you have about the future of commercial real estate that others might not see?
So I do think that we are probably going to see a pretty strong and significant comeback in the multifamily market. Blackstone just spent $10 billion acquiring AIR communities, which is like 76 communities. And if that's not an indicator that Blackstone is bullish on multifamily, I don't know what is.
Yes.
I love that because Blackstone specifically invests in the infrastructure of cities and housing developments. And they have millions of data points, right? They're massive.
Absolutely massive.
So
Yes.
when they spend the largest amount they've ever spent on multifamily in this part of the market cycle, to me, that's a strong indicator that they still feel bullish on multifamily, which is how we feel. I also, maybe unpopular opinion, popular opinion, I don't know. We are becoming a nation of renters. We are absolutely seeing the intersection of undersupply and unaffordability. So I do think that being able to invest into a community and revitalize a community is a privilege. And I don't take that responsibility lightly. And also just being able to see so many women and minorities, like in the multi community alone, we are such a diverse community, but I like to believe that we have created a community where there's something for everybody. We have community members that join the community excited about multifamily. They get into it and they're like, oh, actually, I've learned I don't want to do multifamily. And I'm like, amazing.
That's okay.
Hey,
You took one off your list. Now you can actually pursue something what you really want.
exactly. But I still find them coming back and leaning into the community because it's not about multifamily, really. It's about support. It's about helping each other. It's about belonging somewhere. It's about feeling that something is possible that didn't feel possible before. And so I don't know how I got so lucky that I get to do this every single day of my life, but I'm so incredibly grateful that I get this opportunity. It is truly a place that, and I get to shape it, right? Like I
Yes,
get to
absolutely.
say, I'm sorry, this is not the energy we want in here. When someone's being negative, I get to tell them that this isn't the vibe. And if you can't match the vibe of the community, then this isn't for you. And so we just have this really strong, amazing group of people who always go out of their way to lead with value and serve each other. And they're just truly go-givers.
Amazing. So I wanted to ask another follow-up question to what you said. You're becoming a nation of renters. One is because of, unaffordability. That is one of the
Yeah.
things. And again, unavailability of homes as well.
Yeah.
Is it also because of the current Gen Z's mindset?
Yes.
Because they don't like the traditional 30-year fixed, mortgage on their head. They want to have that flexibility where they can do a lot of things and they don't have a mortgage hanging. Is it also contributing to that?
I do think so. I think Gen Z is still on the young end, but as they continue to age, I do think, a lot of Gen Z, well, and Gen Z is a very unique generation. I think that they're the generation combined with Generation Alpha, which is my kids' generation. I think they're going to be the ones to save us all from the devastation
Yes.
we're heading toward because they're
Yes.
more vocal, they're more conscious, they organize more, they mobilize more to see the change that they want, and they're not afraid to this is where cancel culture comes in, right? They're not afraid to vote with their dollars. And I think that's so incredible. And so with that, right, we're seeing Gen Z has a lot more consumer debt and education debt, right? The
Yes.
cost of college is so, well, even
So
as a millennial,
expensive. Yes.
yeah, even as a millennial, we have high debt rates, but we're still a little bit closer to the baby boomer generation and Gen X. So for us, it's still a little bit more of a traditional view. But now with like Airbnbs, they don't have to stay in any one location. During COVID, where Gen Z was going through some of their most formative years as young adults, they realized that they can work remotely and they could work from like Belize or
Yes.
Goa or the US, and it didn't really matter. So we saw a lot of mobility there, but then also we see it in trends, right? Like we see Rent the Runway, where you're renting your wardrobe now, right? Bag Borrow or Steal, you're renting your bags, you're renting your jewelry, you're renting your car, you're using Ubers and ride shares. It's a lot more communal than it used to be, where it was like, no, we need the house with the white picket fence and the 2-car garage. Like all of that has completely changed. And the quintessential traditional American family has moved and shifted so much
Completely. Yes.
that I think it's twofold, right? Like I think Gen Z probably just can't afford to buy, but also, even if they could or can, I don't think a lot of Gen Z wants to, at least at this point of their life.
Life. They want to explore and do more things which traditionally the other generations hesitated to do. Their mindset was post-retirement, I'll do. Gen Z's
Exactly.
mindset is not like that. They want to live their life along with their working time as well. It's like a completely shift in mindset, what I've seen.
100%.
So managing a demanding career and personal life is no small feat. How do you find balance, and what personal rituals help you unwind?
I don't have any kind of balance. It's so bad. I'm like extremely working on my business or extremely with my family, and it's very hard to balance the two. I have a whole entire village that helps me. All four grandparents live in my neighborhood and are active and involved. I have a full-time nanny. I have a husband who's very hands-on as a parent. And I just have a lot of community support. I also have a team at work that is incredible and make sure things continue to run. One personal ritual I have that I protect with everything is between the hours of like 5 and 7:30 p.m. when I'm at home, when I'm in Dallas, I do not schedule any calls, meetings, anything like that, because that is my time with my children, with my family, and it's the only time in the day I usually get. And I am very mindful. I'm not on my phone. I'm not scrolling social media. I'm present with them. I'm paying attention to them. I'm asking them questions. We're learning together. We look things up together. So I spend a lot of quality time with them because I don't get quantity. I have to make it quality. And that's something I protect with everything.
That's, actually quality is more important than quantity, I
Yeah,
would say.
I
If you're
agree.
just going to sit with them for 8 hours and you're scrolling on your phone, what difference does it make? And if
Exactly.
you're going to be present with them, even if it's just the 2.5 hours, that's what they're going to cherish. That's really, and it's a personal discipline that you've made sure that you have it, so
Yeah.
that no matter what happens,
Yeah.
it can wait, but family comes first during the time.
100%. And I do this too with friends or business, anybody. If I'm out to dinner with somebody, you will never find me on my phone. The only exception is if my kids are not with me, I will check it every 30 minutes or so just to make sure that no one's asking. But I'm not that worried about it. I don't text, I don't check social media, I don't do all the things on my phone. When I'm there, I like to be present, I like to be paying attention. It's also the reason why I don't get that many photos, because I am not on my phone, so I forget to take pictures. I have to purposefully try to take photos to remember things later.
But that's really a good habit, Veena, because when irrespective of professional, personal, being present is extremely important. So I think that's one takeaway everybody who's going to listen to this podcast has to do. So, what advice would you give to young women looking to forge a path in the competitive world of real estate?
Okay, first and foremost, you belong here and you absolutely deserve a seat at the table. It will be hard and you will have many people tell you it can't be done. They're lying. It can be done and it should be done, and there's no one better to do it than you. And we bring a very unique perspective and a unique skill set. So make sure that you show up authentically. And if you are not finding what works, keep moving, pivot to something else, because it's much better to realize that you've walked through the wrong door than to spend your whole life in the wrong room.
That's
Change rooms.
beautifully said. That's beautifully said. That's amazing. I think you should put that as a quote and give it to everybody, laminate it and give it to them. I
I
guess
love it.
every young woman in this world needs to understand that, take timely, if you feel that, the shoe doesn't fit you, what do? You
Change the
immediately
shoe.
change it. Yeah,
Of course.
exactly. And you don't need to suffer through that and get all kind of other issues. And if you believe that you can do it, you can do it. It's all in your mind. And
100.
and thank you so much for saying that. So, as we wrap up, the last question I have for you is, reflecting on your career thus far, what is one piece of wisdom you wish you had known at the start? And what legacy that would you like to leave behind as well?
You always asking me to just pick one is so hard because I learned so many things over the course of my career. Okay, if there was one thing, I wish that I would have known that I didn't have to start investing in single family to get into multifamily. I always thought that multifamily was for like Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk and Oprah, not for me. I didn't know I could own large multifamily assets. And so I would say that I wish I would have known what was possible. And the reason I didn't know that is because I didn't have community, right? Like everybody in Multify, the minute you walk through that door, you know that there is way more possible than you thought of before you walked through that door.
100%. Yes.
And it's just knowing it's possible is enough to get your mind working toward bigger and greater things. You don't even have to accomplish the impossible to know that you can do more and be better and show up as an elevated version of yourself.
I guess there's a famous quote which says, a journey of 1,000 miles starts with the first step. You
Yep.
just have to know you can do it. You don't need to know the entire path of the 1,000 miles. You just have to
No.
take the first step. The
Yep.
rest will follow through.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So thank you so much, Veena. As we wrap up today's inspiring conversation, I want to extend a heartfelt thank you to you, Veena, for sharing your wealth of knowledge and experience with us. Veena, your journey in transforming the real estate landscape and your dedication to community and sustainability are truly motivating. So as final parting words, do you have anything more to say for us?
Yeah, I would say, everybody has something of value to contribute, and everybody can make a small change. And when many people make the same small changes, it leads to a greater impact. And, just be you, show up authentically, and just keep going. Don't ever stop trying, because you will eventually figure it out. Success is just on the other side of one more failure.
Thank you so much. That was so inspiring. So to our listeners, thank you for tuning in to Planet Forward with Preetha, Conversations for a Greener Future. We hope today's episode has given you valuable insights into the powerful impact of visionary leadership in the real estate sector and how it intertwines with our collective push towards a sustainable future. Remember to join us next time as we continue to explore the stories of change makers who are propelling our planet forward. Make sure to follow or subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform to stay updated on our latest episodes. Until then, keep striving for sustainability and making a positive impact in your community. Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you for tuning in to the Planet Forward with Preetha, Conversations for a Greener Future. Together, we're exploring the innovations and stories that inspire us to think and act for a sustainable world. If you're inspired by today's conversation and want to be part of this journey toward a greener future, make sure to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform. By subscribing, you'll never miss an episode filled with groundbreaking ideas and actionable solutions. Let's continue to make a difference, one episode at a time. I'm Preetha, reminding you to make every day count for our planet. Until next time, keep moving the planet forward.